Code is an interesting character in the Boruto series, as despite being introduced as a big threat toward the Leaf Village, he hasn't lived up to it compared to previous main villains like Momoshiki and Isshiki. Ever since the first chapter of Two Blue Vortex, Code has been put on the back burner amongst villains in the time skip and hasn't been able to accomplish his goals so far. Even though he has turned the Ten Tails into his allies by manipulating them via claw marks, Code made a massive mistake which allowed the Shinju to have self-awareness, becoming free of his control and stronger than he'd ever imagined. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I think Code has been an underwhelming villain, as he constantly gets embarrassed every time he tries to do something beneficial toward his goals. When he was first introduced into the story, I was super excited on how he was going to change the story, since every villain has brought different changes to Boruto and Kawaki's character. And even though he accomplished that with his battles against Boruto and Kawaki in part 1, and then introducing the Shinju villains, it came at the expense of him getting destroyed. At the start of Two Blue Vortex, Code came to Konoha looking to find Boruto. However, once he did confront him, Code got quickly beat down, where Boruto treated him like a fodder villain. After the Shinju evolved, where their overwhelming power was even too much for Boruto's strength, Code has left the battlefield where we have yet to see him. And in the current story arc for Two Blue Vortex, Code really has no chance against any of these characters of either side, whether it's Boruto or the Shinju like Jura and Hidari. In today's video, I want to talk about how Code can get stronger in order to accomplish his goals. I was brainstorming some ideas, thinking about how Code can get to the power level of Boruto and the Shinju, until I found a Twitter thread about Code. Shout out to Flash of the Leaf for making the thread. I'll link the tweet in the description below. Anyways, Code is part of the Kara organization, where every single member has Roman numerals on their face. For Code, the Roman numeral is 6 under his right eye, and the number 6 is also referred to an error called error code 6, which refers to when someone would try to install a new program onto a PC, but the PC doesn't have the specifications in order to support the program. However, the program is still installed onto the PC, but it cannot be run since it does not support the file. Think of trying to run a game on your PC from the Steam browser, for example. Playing a game that requires heavy graphics and processing power, such as GTA or Red Dead for example, may not be supported by your computer unless it is strong enough to run these programs. An error code 6 would register if you can't run a program like this, since the hardware isn't powerful enough. Usually there are some options to resolve this error, like troubleshooting your PC, updating your system, or just outright upgrading your computer with new parts like a better graphics card or an improved processor for faster speeds. Now this sounds familiar to Code, since obviously he has the Roman number letter 6 tatted on his face, and not only that, Code is basically built like a potato computer trying to run GTA on ultra settings. What I mean by that is that Code has access to the karma and draws the physical power from it. However, he cannot use the karma's main abilities properly, such as chakra absorption or teleportation. This became clear in part 1, where Momoshiki poked fun at him for having a dud karma and not being able to use the karma properly, unlike with Boruto and Kawaki, who can use it on a higher level. Code was one of the 2 children who survived the karma rituals tested by Kara alongside Kawaki, and for some odd reason, he was compatible with the karma. However, he wasn't able to become a vessel like how Kawaki did. When Code was initially introduced into the story after Isshiki's death, we discovered that there were limiters put on his body to limit his true strength, to make sure that Code doesn't betray Jigen at the time. After Code unlocked his limiters, he was able to draw more power from his own body by being able to make more claw marks and essentially split the Ten Tails apart into humanoid characters. We haven't seen Limitless Code fight at full power, so we don't know if the limiters were limiting his karma functioning, since we haven't seen him fight with the karma. However, we do know that it was limiting his overall powers, hence the increase in claw marks. This is why Amato mentioned that Code's claw marks are Shinjutsu, since that is a majority of his powers. Despite his moveset being so limited, no pun intended, Code's strongest ability is the claw marks, and even though he continued to take L's post timeskip, I think the most underappreciated part about Code is that he essentially fathered in the new Shinju enemies that currently have Konoha's fate in their hands, with Jura and Hidari inside of the village. The claw marks manipulate the 10-tail humanoid characters into adopting their own free will and developing self-awareness, where they are able to make their own goals instead of just devouring an Otsutsuki to harvest a chakra fruit. The Shinju's powers are insane, as they were able to overwhelm Boruto when they were first introduced in chapter 4, where Code left the battlefield and hasn't been seen since, knowing that the Shinju will do the dirty work for him. And even though the Shinju have developed their own objectives in targeting other characters, their main goal is still programmed in their mind, which is to devour an Otsutsuki. Eventually, Code has to come back into the story, and there is a reason why he's still alive. Despite getting his ass beat over and over again, it's apparent that Code is still going to be relevant in the story one way or another. His overall goal hasn't changed despite the circumstances circumstances forcing him to be sideline, which is to devour a chakra fruit by updating himself, essentially going from a potato into a high-end gaming PC in order to run graphic-intensive programs will allow Code to develop into an Otsutsuki. The dirty work is being done for him right now, and he is waiting for the opportunity to strike and get the jump on updating his genetics in order to evolve. Let's not forget he is connected to all of the Shinju via the claw marks since they all belong to his ability, so theoretically he can enter the battlefield anytime he wants to through either Jura or Hidari's body since their body was manipulated via the claw marks. Technically, the Shinju are his creations, and with the current story arc focusing on the Shinju fighting Boruto and Kawaki, Code is going to be lurking in the claw marks, waiting for his chance to devour a chakra fruit. The chances of this happening are low in my opinion because I doubt either Boruto or Kawaki will die anytime soon. I would be surprised if either get killed by the Shinju since they are main characters, but since they are Otsutsuki, however, they do have the ability to revive themselves using the karma, if they are put in the predicament that they could be devoured by the Shinju. Harvesting a chakra fruit would also mean the end of the world, since a god tree forming would absorb all of the life force of the planet to create the fruit. I wanted to bring this discussion back up because we haven't seen Code in a while, and I know for a fact he's scheming something in order to get back on Boruto or Kawaki, since it wouldn't make any sense for him to not do anything for the rest of Two Blue Vortex considering he's still alive. Kishimoto has him on the back burner, and I doubt he's going to continue to stay as this naive punching bag despite getting his limiters removed and manipulating the 10 tails to get close to his goal of becoming an Otsutsuki. The only problem I have with Code aspiring to evolve into one is that can he even devour a chakra fruit? He's not confirmed to be an Otsutsuki, and he isn't a vessel, meaning that he most likely doesn't have Otsutsuki DNA inside of him. So in the scenario that he gains a chakra fruit, will his body be able to take all that power at once? We have already witnessed humans turn into Otsutsuki with Boruto and Kawaki becoming vessels, where the Otsutsuki DNA overwrote their human genetics. However, we've never seen a human turn into an Otsutsuki after consuming a chakra fruit. During the Kara organization in the Boruto anime, Orochimaru mentions that eating a chakra fruit would not bode well for an ordinary human. We already saw Victor try to make a bootleg one in order to regenerate his missing body parts, but we do know that he is a modified human, just like the rest of the Kara inners such as Code for example. Code is different compared to the rest of the inner members, since he is one of Jigen's survivors and he has a karma power that even Jigen feared at full power. In the conversation that Isshiki had with Code before his spirit disappeared, Isshiki told Code to consume a chakra fruit which contained all records of life of not only current living humans, but including the past life, including all those who have died, like Isshiki for example. If this power is able to be procured inside of Code's body, where he is able to evolve, this will allow him to continue the Otsutsuki Will for Code to follow that was passed down from Isshiki. Code stated that his first goal is to get revenge on those who killed Isshiki, where he tried to get back on the Leaf Village but ultimately failed. Despite changing some of the dynamics with certain characters like Boruto becoming a perfect Otsutsuki after dying, and as well as Kawaki reawakening his karma, Code didn't come close to getting his revenge on those who killed Isshiki. And I think Code may have to realign those revenge aspirations in order to reach his ultimate goal of devouring a chakra fruit, since right now he can't just appear in the village trying to kill those who killed Isshiki without getting hit in the crossfire because of his limited power compared to the rest of the field right now in the story. I would honestly be very surprised if Code made an appearance in the village again and is just waiting for his opportunity in the scenario that the Shinju devour Boruto or Kawaki to harvest the chakra fruit. And as much as I clown Code for being an embarrassment of a villain so far, I think there will be a time for him to wake up and dominate the story amongst the current powerhouses in the story. That means being stronger than the likes of Boruto, Damon, Kawaki, Jura, and Hidari. Jura hinted in chapter 11 that he used a bit of his true power when fighting Himawari after activating her 9 tails chakra, but if Code wants to become that guy again, he's gonna have to get that strong or else he would continue to be plot fodder like before. I'm intrigued to see how Kishimoto brings back Code into the story because I'm not too fond of his character right now and I would be happy to see him die off. However, I have a feeling he's going to pull off a 3-1 comeback and flip the entire story on everyone when nobody is expecting it. It would have to be crazy because the overall power levels are continuing to rise, and at this rate, Code has already been left in the dust, unless he's able to update his genetics by consuming a chakra fruit. But let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section below. How do you feel about Code's character, and do you think that Code can make the comeback to become an Otsutsuki in order to continue the Otsutsuki Will? I think this can open up opportunities for more Otsutsuki lore and potential battles with Boruto and Kawaki. So if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell as well, and have a good day. Peace.